In every one of our lives, none of us are a mistake. Every one of us, we have a divine purpose for being here in the earth. And I like to encourage people to discover what that purpose is. And part of that process of discovering what your purpose is I believe, is looking at what God has already done to set you up for kingdom purposes. Now, years ago, at a point when I was a little bit discouraged about my life and couldn't make sense of my life, I was guided through a process of discerning the sovereign hand of God in my life up to that point. It had seemed to me that my life was just a disjointed series of episodes until I began to recognize, no, there is a sovereign thread, the hand of God, the fingerprint of God that was upon my life for years leading up to that point. But it took some intentional reflection on my part to discern that. And once I was able to discern that, then the Holy Spirit used that to bring this sense of peace, really, that God's hand was indeed on my life. And part of that reflection led me into discerning what I'm calling here sovereign foundations. Those foundations can be both positive elements and even negative elements. Now, what are sovereign foundations? The sovereign foundations are those conditions that into which we were born. Now, in my case, I've traced my sovereign foundations back in my family tree a little bit, back to 1906, when my great aunt Laura Turpin was in the Baptist Church in Solway, Tennessee, and had become very hungry for more from God. And about that same time, the Azusa Street outpouring was taking place in Los Angeles. Well, a man named Sam C. Perry was at the Los Angeles Azusa Street revival services. Sam Perry was there. He left there, traveled east, ended up on a train, getting off at the train station in Solway, Tennessee, made his way to that Baptist church. He shows up. He's invited to minister. The Holy Spirit's poured out, and there, my Aunt Laura Turpin received the baptism of the Holy Spirit. That led to her raising my grandfather when he was a child. His name was King Turpin. And after King grew up, he became a minister of the gospel. He raised my father, Jim Turpin. And my mom and dad, from the earliest years that I can remember, they were immersed in a culture of the miraculous, the supernatural. Now, those are not my sovereign foundations. Now, my foundations have to be extremely positive in that sense. I've got some negative things in my story too, where I've experienced the grace of God that have set the foundation for the things that God has built upon that foundation for His purposes in my life. But I want to encourage you, what are the sovereign foundations in your life, in your story? Now, you may be thinking, well, I don't have that kind of a glamorous history where I could say that my heritage goes all the way back to Azusa Street or anything like that. Well, there are other ways that God sets us up. Let me tell you about a negative in my experience. I grew up in the coal fields of West Virginia, southern West Virginia, and there's a lot of pluses about that. There's a good work ethic there, okay, in southern West Virginia. And there's a lot of hidden resource there that's not even fully maximized yet, even today. But in this particular period of time, this is the 1950s. This dates me a little bit, okay? But my father came to this realization when I was in the second or third grade. He says, I don't want my children to be limited by what's in this particular part of the state. At that time, in that particular place where we were, the coal mines were starting to be on the decline. And he wasn't a coal miner. He worked with the electric company. But out of a negative situation of limitation, okay, this is what I'm pointing to. Out of a context of limitation, something positive came out of that. My father moved us out of that part of the state into another part of West Virginia where there were more opportunities. See? So something negative ended up leading to a positive. That was part of the foundations that the Lord brought into my life. What about yours? Okay? I want to encourage you to reflect upon those foundational things that God has allowed to happen in your life that are setting you up for kingdom purposes, for what He has in mind. You know, I've cited from my own story how God foundationally put some things in my life to prepare me for the supernatural, for a life that is centered prophetically on supernatural things. I've also shared with you how He has foundationally allowed even negative, somewhat limiting circumstances. I could even point to the fact that I was a slow learner, that I was not initially a good student. Well, it put into me a determination to be good, and today I'm the president of a Bible college. Okay, so look at those things, even that are negative, positive and negative. The positive, okay, what do you have to be thankful for? The negative, where have you seen the grace of God work to help you in overcoming that? That may give you some hint, some clue as to what your life is about. Now, it's not all to be found in the foundations, okay? But some of it is there. You know, you are not an afterthought in God's mind. You have been very much in the forefront of His mind from the very beginning. He has been setting you up for generations prior to you even being born for what He has in mind for you. Your life has a purpose. He's been setting you up. That's what Sovereign Foundations is all about. God has been working for years to set you up for kingdom purposes. There's so much more to this than just this. I mean, it's not just about Sovereign Foundations, and there's ways that He has worked in our lives to develop us even after the foundational period. He's brought mentors into our life. He's brought influences into our life. He's allowed certain trials and tests to take place. He's brought faith encounter experiences to us, various things to form us, to make us. Here's the thing I've discovered over the years. God is a lot more committed to your and my development as kingdom leaders than what we're even committed to. His commitment to us surpasses our commitment to ourselves and to our own development. That's why He keeps nudging us forward. He's a good father. He knows how to parent us as sons and daughters to get us moving in the right direction. Wow. I feel like I'm just giving you just the tip of the iceberg here this morning, but I just want you to be thinking in terms of discerning the sovereign hand of God in your life. He has indeed been setting you up for success. He's been setting you up for kingdom purposes. Let's just begin to recognize, or at least renew our awareness of His hand that has indeed been upon our life. Somebody today needs to be reminded of that. Otherwise, why would I be prompted to this? You know, for it may seem to you that where is God? Where is God in my life? Where is God in the things I'm going through? You know, may He give you the grace to be able to reflect upon those foundational things that He's put into place where He is indeed setting you up. God bless you. Have a wonderful day. And may the Lord just bring you many reminders today of His sovereign hand that is upon your life.